చందమామ రైతు మొక్క నాటి నాడమ్మ సందమామ దుక్కి దున్ని నాడమ్మ సందమామ రైతు ఒక్క నాటి నాడమ్మ సందమామ రైతు ఒక్క నాటి నాడమ్మ సందమామ
దుక్కి దున్ని నాడమ్మ సందమామ రైతు ఒక్క నాటి నాడమ్మ సందమామ రైతు ఒక్క నాటి నాడమ్మ సందమామ
Good morning, children. Today we will be starting with our next lesson, agriculture in our times. Now in this lesson we are going to learn about how agriculture, or we will be comparing the stages of agriculture to the olden days, maybe to your grandfathers there, and to the present to the present day. Okay, so children, we will learn, or we will compare agriculture, how it was being done earlier to the present day agricultural system, how the system has changed, was it benefitable for today's farmers, or what happened exactly, or what are the changes that are taking place. Okay, whether is it polluting the soil or anything. Yes, much. But before that, as early man, if you see, he slowly started growing crops. Yes, that means farming was done, but he never used any modern techniques. It was all done by manual labor. Okay, here man was always benefited because the soil was fertile. Okay, and he never used any fertilizers or anything, because the water also he used to get from the underground. Okay, that means it was not that polluted. Okay, but if you come and see today's farmers, especially in the villages, if you go and see, most of the people in the villages, when they cultivate the land, okay, maybe due to many reasons, the crop or the harvest is not up to the mark, or not up to their expectations. Maybe they must have thought of this much of quantity, they are not able to to produce that quantity, in spite of using so many fertilizers, pesticides, HYV seeds, so many modern techniques. It is not only in one country, it is happening in most countries, but it is not at the same way. You cannot blame the technology, it is bad or something. If you go to the prairies, in North America, if you see prairies in North America, farming, or it is called mechanized farming, everything machines do, right from plowing the land, sowing the seeds. Yeah, and the farmers over there are very, very rich compared to the farmers in India. Yes, why it happens so? It's only because the farmers are not being properly educated, or awareness, or another reason is our digging of the land, or too many floods. The fertility of the soil is not being taken proper care of, or in some parts, where the land is, agriculture is good for producing or for growing, food crops, we started growing it for commercial crops. Like if you recollect back, the Britishers, when they came to India, they cleared the forest. And Britishers used to ask Indian farmers to grow a crop called indigo. Indigo is a crop which is of no use to the Indians. Indigo is a crop which is used only in European. It's a blue color dye. It is used only by Europeans. Nowhere India has anything. And a land which is very it's only it's fit to grow It can, grow crops like paddy, wheat. The land is such fertile to grow such good crops, and so actually needed for Indian, because rice is a staple food of India. For that reason, here our farmers were forced to grow indigo, and even if they grow indigo, it was not being given proper prices. They were being sold at a very low price, and the farmers died of starvation because they couldn't get proper money. They never got. So same thing was continuing even after independence also. That is why Gandhiji used to say that agriculture is the backbone of India. Most of our economy comes from agriculture, because India's land is an agricultural land.
India is an agricultural country. So people are either engaged in agriculture or they do supplementary occupation, like they are masons, they are carpenters, they work in the brick kiln. So all these are supplementary, and it does not give you a lot of income. Some of them do not even have cattle, otherwise they could have gone into dairy farming. Then some of them do not even own their farms, they are tenants. Therefore, they become migratory workers. And just like you have seen, they work in cities as rickshaw drivers or rickshaw pullers, or they have to go as security guard. And their whole family life is disrupted.
We were being exporters. If you go to Punjab, because of the 5 rivers, it is called the wheat. Punjab, if you see, it is called the wheat bowl of India. Come to Andhra Pradesh, the rice bowl of India. Can you tell me the wheat basket of the world? What is known as wheat basket? It's the prairies in North America. That is called because it exports wheat. Okay, when we were being called like this, you see in today's day, the farmers are at a great loss. See the newspapers, children, you will find farmers are dying. They are committing suicide because there is no proper production. Why it is happening? It's all happening because of the government not taking proper care, or the farmers, they themselves, or the people. When you dig too much of land, what happens to the underground water? It is getting, there's no underground water. Too much of construction leads, the depletion of the ground. You don't get water. When you don't get proper water, crops are not grown. But it's a lot of famine out there. Then after that, what happens? You see, when there's no water and when the fertile soil is not being used properly to grow the proper crop, what is happening to the farmers? They are not getting proper income. So what do? They start working in others' land as daily wage laborers, or now what happens after few days or few years, they won't have sufficient amount, so they started taking, or they start borrowing money from the big farmers. When they start borrowing money from the big farmers exploit the small farmers and take more interest. And since the small farmers don't have proper techniques, they don't get proper seeds. Out of that, the climate doesn't favor them. There's no water to grow. The produce is very, very less. Or sometimes there is no production only. That time the farmers are at a great loss, and what they do? Slowly they sell off their land and they become landless farmers. Now what happens? Then they start working on a contract basis. When it goes like this, on another side, or what happens is that when a particular land...
So children, you have any questions? Now I've explained this whole lesson to you and you were listening very intently. Do you have any questions to ask me? Yes.
Are the farmers paying taxes?
Yeah, today the farmers, the Indian government has absolved them from paying taxes. They don't pay taxes.
Why?
They don't pay because the farmers are poor to begin with. They are very poor. And this is one of the facilities that the government can do for them. A farmer, besides cultivating the land, he is also doing other things. Like for example, he'll cultivate the land only in a particular season and he'll reap the harvest. But he has to live for a whole year, right? So he will do carpentry or he will do pottery. These are all the occupations which are connected with farming. But it's not giving him enough of money because he doesn't have money for irrigation projects. How can he do that? For irrigation, he has to dig a bow well. He doesn't have money for that. He doesn't have money to buy seeds. He doesn't have money to buy new implements that have come into the market. So, and if the government taxes, then what will happen? So that is the facility they get. Any other question?
Then why do they commit suicide?
Very good question. The farmers are committing suicide mainly because their crops are failing. You know, our crops, the farmers' crop, depend on what? Water. From where do we get the water? From the rain. So they are dependent on the rain. And you know, in the last year, the rain has not been coming regular. We have not had a good monsoon last year. Besides that, you have bigger farmers who are using tractors. And these small farmers cannot afford the tractors. Another thing is that these farmers have children, no? They have sons. So say you have one farmer, he has got say 4 sons. So what does he do? He has to divide his land among his 4 sons. And those sons will also have sons, right? So that land is further divided. So there's no way he can bring a tractor into that small piece of land that he has. And if he's using the very traditional method of farming, he's using fertilizers, he's using pesticides, he's using the bullock with the old wooden hoe, he's not going to get a bumper harvest. And he is at the mercy of the money lender. Because what? He has borrowed money. He has borrowed money to buy all these implements. He has to pay it back to the money lender. Money lender is sitting on his back. Wapas de do, with high interest. And if he doesn't give, then what does he do? He either takes away his houses, or he takes away his land. You sang it in that song, right? He doesn't get it back.
Now these days all the big companies, suppose if you take companies which are having their own food production, food items, they started having a deal with the farmers and say that in your piece of land, if you grow the crop which I give you, which I tell you, then that crop will be taken by me itself, by the company itself. And the company is advise the farmers to grow the same crop which they need. For example, if they are producing chips, potato chips, they will ask the farmer to grow only potatoes. If they are doing some tomato sauce, they will ask the farmer to grow only the tomatoes. Okay, and if by mistake or the fate of the farmer, if it is in such a way that the crop is not, suppose if the company is asking say 100 kilos and the farmer is not able to produce 100 and his crop comes say some 50, 60. The company says no, I'm not going to buy, and he goes to another person. Now what is he going to do with this? He had to sell them at a lower price. This is called contract farming, where not always the farmers are at a profit, they are sometimes at a loss. It's a risk. But not all farmers will get contracts from big companies. There are farmers who don't have money, they don't get water even to water the plants. So what they do, they will go and take help from the big farmers. Now these big farmers will have huge acres, say some 50, 60 acres of land, 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever it is. Where a small farmer will have only some 4 to 5 acres. A big farmer will have 30, 40 acres of land. So he's already full-fledged. What he does, he started taking or giving loans to the small farmers. because the small farmers don't go to the banks to take loans, because the banks again will have sureties where they don't have. From where will be pay the interest? So the banks also don't come forward. So what the small farmers will do, they go to the big farmers, and from there they get the loans and when they are not able to pay, this part of land is, you know, annexed to the big farmers, or the farmer will take the land for lease, or the women start working in the big farmers' lands at a very small low wages. And this big farmer is already full-fledged. Now what he's done, he's earning extra income, not only income from his own crop, by giving loans to the small farmers, he earns extra interest. Yes, and since he's a big farmer, he has many, you know, modern technology like tractors, you know, bore wells and all. He supplies waters and all to, or he supplies these equipments to other farmers and takes money from them on a contract basis. That is his extra income. Yes, another extra income from the big farmer is if he has surplus land also. Now, these big farmers, since they have huge acres of land, what do they do? Is it one said, I've already told you that they give their modern equipments, like, you know, they have their tractors, they have their harvesters, their threshers to the small farmers, to other farmers, and take money from them. That is one way. One way is that they have bore wells and they supply water to the other small farmers and they take money from them. Third, they give loans to the small farmers to buy seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, and take interest from them. Another way of earning money for these big farmers is that they'll be having huge buffaloes, like many buffaloes, a cow shed, where they supply milk to the, to the nearby villages, and that's one more way of earning money. So the big farmers are always at a profit. It's who is the loser? The small farmers, because they don't get sufficient, and sometimes when they work, their women also, when the women of the wives of the small farmers, when they work at other farms also, they get very, very less paid. And sometimes when if you take a crop, a field, and when they are growing a crop for 2 months or 3 months, or after that harvesting is over for say rabi crop or kharif crop, whatever it is, then they are at a loss. They are left with no job for few months. Then what do? They go to the nearby villages or to the nearby towns, to the nearby cities, and work for leaving this land like fallow. So that time also they have to work at a very, very low wage. Sometimes these farmers, they don't, when there is a flood or anything, when their crop is ready to harvest, when there is a flood, the farmers are at a great loss. So always, and the government many times come forward to help them, but because of many pollution reasons also, the farmers are unable to give a proper fertile crop to the people. Then their produce is not being sold at a higher price also, because seeing the quality of the crop, nobody buys that crop. And sometimes somebody takes and they start growing these on those crops, commercial crops, to earn more and more money. A cotton crop, it's only used by only that, but if that cotton is not properly sold, what will the farmer do with the whole cotton? It's of no use to the farmer. Then the farmer, hearing all this, if you compare, these are the problems which you are facing now. But do you think farmers in olden days faced these problems? No. That time there was a proper planning. These days, due to so many, advancements in science and technology, I'm not saying that it's not good. Sometimes it is not, that much profitable to the others. Especially if you see, these days you use all fertilizers, pesticides, and all artificial things. And people are not buying, because people also are getting educated and they're not buying the crops. So who is at a loss? The farmer. If it is a big farmer, he has his other sources of income. So he's not going to, it is no way going to affect him, but it is going to affect the small farmer who is at a great loss. This small farmer, it leads to poverty, slowly to starvation, and slowly he commits suicide. So the government has to take very serious steps to upgrade the life of the farmers. Yes? children, in this lesson you are going to do an activity. It's a comparative study of agriculture in today's day, in today's life, how agriculture is being practiced in India, compare it to the Western country, agriculture in the Western countries, and give a report. Who is going to be, in what way, or what is the difference between the farmers of those countries and farmers, and why there is a difference, and suggest some views or some methods where you can upgrade the life of the Indian farmers. Thank you, children.
There was a zamindar, collected taxes from the farmer's son. He also had his tenant fine, collected tax from him all the time.
Then the farmer cried, the money lender cried, if you cannot pay me back, your land and house they will be mine, till you pay back and you get sacked.
Once there was a zamindar, collected taxes from the farmer's son. He also had his tenant fine, collected tax from him all the time.
Then he got up freedom from British fiefdom, the government took on the reign, and abolished system, the zamindari system, gave land to the dollar and said,
Once there was a zamindar, collected taxes from the farmer's son. He also had his tenant fine, collected tax from him all the time.
now we're
We're free from the zamindar,
the farmer is all